Peter, welcome to the podcast. I'm just going to ask you, in your own words, to introduce yourself and tell me what it is that makes you uncommon.
Well, I'm Peter Browning-Smith from Colchester, and what makes me uncommon is the amount of running I've been doing lately, basically, from 100 milers to Cedar summits, Three Peaks, yeah, from 50 Ks, 100 miles, and I've recently signed up to the race across Scotland next year, which is 215 miles. So, yeah, extreme endurance sports is my uncommon thing. Um, yeah, there's not that many people around here that do it as well. So finding coaching and stuff like that has been hard. I've had to sort of reach out to people from all over the world, really, just to get some idea of like how it's even done. And yeah, it's been a great experience, and the community that you find through doing it is amazing because they're so supportive. Like even in race conditions, everyone's just got each other's back. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. So, as you said there, it's not the most common of sports. It's getting a lot more popular, but I'd still say it's very far from a mainstream sport. So, just talk to me about how it was like, what was your first exposure to not even ultra endurance, but just endurance sports in general?
I think, well, my first experience was I've got military background. So when I was 18, I joined the army. So that was an endurance sport in itself. Because in this, because I was infantry, the job was basically endurance sport. The training you do Monday to Friday is purely for endurance, for being on exercise and stuff. But since leaving the army, left about 23, 24, and I kept fit, but never really, there wasn't anything to really sign up to apart from like probably like um I don't know, local stuff that wasn't really endurance sports. They're like a marathon is can pretty much done in like 3 4 hours depending upon how quick you do it. But endurance is like a full day and night of just great determination and going through it with other people and pulling through it and testing you to the absolute limit. Is like what I've experienced before, and what kind of, I don't know why, but something you crave it again. It's a weird addiction. It's similar to like other people, like women go through like birth and they're like, oh, never again. And then instantly they want another child, or a tattoo. You have a tattoo, it's awful all day. And then you go and, what do you want, another tattoo? It's kind of similar to that kind of thing. You're like, oh, it's hard through doing it, but then you're so proud of yourself for doing it that you want to do it again. You want that proud moment again, that you can actually push yourself to the absolute limit and get to the other side. And then the level of endorphins you get from it is amazing. But the community as well, like you make so many good friends from it. And they are like the most supportive people you'll ever meet. It is amazing the amount of messages you get from people you don't even know. And they're like, well done and stuff. You're like, I don't even know you, but thank you. Like, yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's good, man. So let's jump even further back to the start. So as you said, you've got a military background, which if you came out 23, 24, I'd imagine you went in straight out of school slash college. So talk to me about what led to that decision.
Yeah, there was a year or two where I sort of lost my way after leaving school. Didn't really know what to do. It was around the time of like that recession hit, and I didn't really know what to do. I fell in with, I'd say, what felt like a good crowd at the time, but probably looking back, it wasn't a good crowd. Like going out all the time, drinking, all that sort of stuff. Going to raves, yeah, festivals and that sort of stuff. And then I kind of suddenly got the realization I was like, I need to do something that's actually gonna go somewhere with a career and stuff. That's what sort of, I don't know. I've probably had like a bad night out where I was like, no, these aren't actually my friends. That we're just getting messy all the time. This isn't sustainable. So I kind of just one day, just the light bulb switched on, and I just walked up North Hill, walked straight in the army careers office, said, I'm joining the army, like just randomly off the cuff, just, and that was it. And from there on, I went. It was like, I think that the whole process of going into the army excited me because it was scary, but like um, once you've done it, you then feel good. Like even the pre-selection and stuff like that was like scary. But fitness, when you start running and stuff, like in the pre-selection, you have to do like a mile and a half in like think it was like 10 minutes, which was for me quite easy because I've always kept fit anyway. I'm quite a fit kid. I used to bike around a lot and you play out in the streets and stuff like that. So running wasn't a problem. But once you start, the confidence just flows and you're just, if you're fit, then the army is your cup of tea, basically. Like, as long as you're fit, basically. So I had that. And then it was more mental resilience that you have to grow from it because it's all the fear of like, what if this happens, what if this happens? But yeah, it was great. But the main reason for leaving was because my mum fell ill. I was never based in England. I was based in Germany and Cyprus while I was in, and it was just hard work to get home to be there. So when I got that call when she was unfortunately terminally ill, I decided, right, I'm going to go home, and then sort of fell out of love with the army because when you're in, you're in. If you don't want to be in, then you're all in looked at. Well, you're not good enough then, sort of. So I was like, I sort of fell out of love in that respect. I was like, blood's thicker than water. I'm going to make sure I'm at home. And that sort of went south that way. But I'm glad I did because it was only until last year that she passed away. So I'm glad I was here for that sort of last section of her life. So she had all the support. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that was a very pivotal moment for you in terms of your ultra running and your endurance sports. But just focusing on the army for a second before we move on to this stage of your life that you're at now. Last week we had James Elliott on the pod, who was 14 years in the paras, and he has certain mantras and things that stuck with him from his P company experiences and whatnot. One that he had was a sergeant. I'm obviously speaking about things I don't know about. Someone who was above him said to him, "Left foot, right foot, and your body will follow, Elliot." Do you have anything like that that stuck with you from the military?
Sergeant Butcher, who was my he was a beast in training. He was like, your mind will give up long before your body will. Your body will keep going. If your life depended on it and the bullets are flying, you will move. You will move. So, I think David Goggins touches on it as well. Like when you feel like you're done, like you're absolutely physically done, you're only 70% done because that's your mind trying to cheat its way out of having to continue. But yeah, I've had that stuck with me. He said like your mind will tell you to stop, but your body will keep going. It will.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's good, man. So moving on to the stage of your life where you're at now. So I came across you on social media maybe six months to a year ago, I'd say, and you're on a real journey at the moment of tackling multiple ultra endurance races this year. You know, we're not talking 50Ks. You've recently completed a 50 miler and an 100 miler in the last fortnight. But as you mentioned before, you did tragically lose your mum, I believe, a year ago, 18 months ago. And that's had a massive impact on being your driving force for these events. So just talk me through like what it means to you to be able to do these events in memory of your mum.
Yeah, well, it was because of her that started looking into doing something to raise money for charity. So back in 2024, this time this time of year, yeah, 2 years ago, I kind of was looking around at things to do to raise money for cancer research and stuff because the cancer came back, unfortunately. So I was like, there's a lot of other things going on in my life at the time, um, and lots of difficult things. I was like, right, felt like I needed to do something. And I kind of accidentally signed up to an ultra marathon, like the three Peak Cedar Summit challenges. I thought were like just a long hike from the coast up to the summit and beyond. I thought that would be good. That'd be like a nice long tab. And I signed up to it, not really because I didn't really know much about the ultra marathon. Well, I didn't really know much about it, but signed up to it and then bought some new boots, new bag. Thought, oh, that'll do, sorted. And then got close to the time when they actually sent out the information of what is going to be expected from the event. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to need some running trainers because the cutoff points mean I'm going to be running. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah. So it's kind of like, it was kind of accidental in a way. But yeah, once I turned up, I did the research. So I only really trained for probably a month or so before the actual event properly. Like got some running in. I'd never run a marathon before. Well, I probably have, but not like clocked it. Like
Yeah, yeah,
like
I
do
understand.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was only like a couple of weeks before the actual. I think it was the Ben Nevis one I did first that I'd actually ran a marathon to see what my feet would actually feel like. It'd been such a long time since I'd done that sort of distance. So yeah, after that first time I did that, and I was like, right, this is it. This is me. This is a bit of me. Like after that, so obviously completed them, and instantly was looking for other things. And I signed up to the Ultra Tour of Arran, which is a 2 day ultra marathon. So you do one day and then another the next day. And unfortunately, between that time of me completing them Cedar Summits and doing that, my mum then passed away. So everything from then on was just in her memory. So I just dedicated all of that. And then after the Ultra Tour of Arran, I then signed up to a 100 miler, which was the Castle to Castle in Scotland from Bamburgh Castle to Edinburgh Castle. And that was probably the most testing race of my like of the most testing time of my life because I can really remember getting to mile 72 and actually feeling done, like properly done, to the point where I was wobbling around. I sort of wobbled into the aid station, and I the guys up there like, you look white, like you don't look well. So I just had to like sit down, gather my thoughts, have a coffee, and have some food, and then somehow find that determination to stand up and to keep going. And as I was sort of waddling out, there were all the people at the aid station were like, "You look like you shouldn't carry on. Do you want to stop? Do you want to stop?" And I was like, "No." And I just literally just carried on. Like for the next 20 or so miles were just determination, really, like just sheer grit and determination. But you learn so much because now I feel like I only felt that point on that last 100 miler that I felt that at the end of the 100 miler, not at mile 72, because now I learned so much from what your feet are going to feel like, how to fuel, how to sort of manage yourself through pushing that distance. Um, I managed to get through it a lot smoother than I did on the first time. But you learn from mistakes. You can't, on these sort of things, what works for other people not necessarily works for you. So you kind of have to, unfortunately, learn from the mistakes of going through it, if that makes sense. Because you don't know how you're going to feel until you get to that point. I mean, there's multiple things going through your head. You do go through stages where you're like, why am I'm never doing this again. You know, I mean, there's loads of thoughts going in your head. Like I could be sitting at home, my feet up, watching a film in a nice warm, cozy with food in front of me, a drink there, and I'm out here on my own in the dark, head torch on, hallucinating. The trees are moving, everything's moving around me, and yeah, but you go through it like you once you feel like a bit wobbly, you can just get through it. Like you just carry on, keep putting one foot in your front of it. You know you will feel better. It's not you won't feel like that forever. You just keep going, and then like I think the sun coming up on that 100 mile I felt so much better when the sun came up. So I was like, oh, it's okay. And then you kind of go through stages of finding it funny and stuff. Like it's bizarre. Like, and I thought someone was waving at me in the distance. Oh, that's nice. Someone's come out to wave at me. It wasn't. It was just a bush blowing in the wind. I was like, okay, I've been waving at a bush for the last 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stories you get from these big ultra marathon experiences, races, whatever distance it is, anything where you're running through the night, some of the stories that come out of these things are crazy, you know. So I can't even imagine that running through the night, the feeling of the sun going down and knowing, okay, we're in darkness now for the next few hours must just be, you know, one of the biggest mental challenges you can face.
Yeah, the temperature, the sun go when it's because the last one I did just now, like the sun was beating down on us all day. It wasn't hot, hot, but like it was just sun. And then once that goes down, the temperature drops. So then all that sweat and exhaustion then becomes cold. Your pace slows down. So then you have to then think about, right, I need to get warm. But then to keep warm sometimes is just to keep moving. Like just keep a shuffle on, don't stop. Because I've seen other people where I've got to an aid station, he's just sitting down shivering, and I'm like, you carry on doing that, you're going to DNF. Like you need to get a hot drink and you stand up, move, keep grinding because stopping is sometimes the worst thing you can do. I tried to minimise how much because made that mistake at aid stations on the first 100 where I spent too much time at aid stations because you seize up, your body then thinks, well, I'm done now. You've done 30, 40 miles, you're sitting down, you're done. Um, so keeping moving is key. And getting if they offer you hot food, even if you feel sick, you don't feel like it, take it because you need the fuel. Fueling is one thing it's hard to do when you get to like 80 odd miles of running in the sun and it starts getting dark. You just feel a bit sick and a bit wobbly. But food is your friend, food and hydration and stuff like that. But you kind of give myself jobs to do while I'm running because sometimes you're on your own. And I'm like, right, a little bit of sip of water, a little bit of sip of electrolytes, a little bit of food, and I'll alternate and do that every now and then. But just like sort of like little bits here and there, not too much.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so let's dive in properly to your most recent race. So you you completed what 2 days ago now? Was it a Saturday morning start, Sunday morning start? Saturday morning. So you completed the Chester 100-mile race, which is run by GB Ultras, which is a great company here in Great Britain. But what I found really interesting was you done another one of their races just 2 weeks before, which was the Liverpool to Manchester 50 miler. Manchester to Liverpool. So, which I was keeping an eye on. I thought, oh, this is sick. And then it was while you were running it, you mentioned like, oh, this is just the warm up. I've got 2 weeks and then I'm doing a 100 miler. So not only did you do that as a warm up, you also PB'd your 50 miler in that. And 2 weeks later, you were off. You treated that as, I think, just your final big long run effort. So how did you decide to structure your training like that? And was that your longest training run of your block?
Yeah, well, I did the Chester 50 as well in February, and that was more. These were all kind of this year. I knew I was going to do the Chester 100. That was my first big challenge of the year. And then when I got to January, obviously the Chester 50 and the M2L, they sell out quick. But I was on the community page on Facebook, and you get people that obviously get injured and they give up their spaces. So both the Chester 50 and the M2L were sort of last minute sign-ups, like a month before the actual race. So yeah, I signed up to the Chester 50 more as a recce run, so then I know kind of what to expect on the Chester 100. And then the M2L in my mind was right, that will be the final long run before the Chester 100. And that's a little bit of sections of that route are in the Chester 100 as well, because you sort of run up towards near Liverpool and then back down again. Um, so yeah, the M2L, I used that as the final training long run, and I absolutely nailed it with pace because you always start off quick because everyone's sort of they take off and you're like you keep up with a few people that you might know from other races. And one of the guys I started with, he was going for like his best effort 50 miler. This is his. Do you know what I mean? So I kept up with him for a bit, and I had to then let him go and be like, right, I'll see you later. I've got to treat this as a training run and let you go, sort of thing. So that's hard to do as well because you want to run, you got that competitiveness in you, so you want to keep up with everyone else, but you've got to then think, oh, this is what I've got to do. This is my race, not. So I kept it perfect. My average pace was like 10-minute miles, which was perfect because that was what I wanted to do for the 100. Um, and yeah, the heart rate, everything was spot on. So I kept an eye, constantly keeping an eye on the watch. Right, that's my pace, that's my heart rate, that's perfect, sweet spot, and just kept it there. And just ignored everyone else around me. If someone overtakes you, it's no sweat because literally 10 minutes time you'll be overtaking them because they've stopped to walk. I just kept that consistent pace. And other people I was meeting at aid stations, they were like, "You just don't stop, do you?" I was like, "No, I've found a pace. I'm going to stay there." And other people were had like that run walk tactic, where they'll run a pace and then they'll walk, catch their breath, and then run again. Whereas I'd rather just keep that consistent pace, if that makes sense.
100%. You settle in, don't you? You settle into a pace that works for you on that day as well. That's the thing is, some days you might go out at that pace and you just can't keep it. Some days you might go out at that pace and it's uncomfortably slow. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about these ultras is, as you say, guys come past you and you know you're going to catch up with them at the next aid station and whatnot because it's such a long period of time that everyone goes through such highs and lows, and even when you're locked in at that steady pace, there's moments where it feels really, really difficult, and then in 5k time you could be running the exact same pace and you feel like you're flying.
Yeah. Yeah. The one bloke said to me on that last race, he said, there's about 15 people in front of us right now that are flying. He goes, I guarantee half of them won't finish. It's such a long race. They're going out so hard that they're pushing themselves to the extra extreme to get like their PBs and stuff. Um, and some of them are experienced, some of them aren't. But he goes, it's such a long race that don't worry about what's going on early on. I think I went from like, I was getting messages while I was on the last race saying, "Oh, you're in the 20s, you're ahead of so and so, you're this, you're that." I'm like, it's really early days. There's no point even looking at that sort of thing because I went from like in the 20s down to like the 40s or 50s, and then finished at 30 and finished 32nd. So like that sort of you just constantly up and down. I was seeing people that were flying past me, and then a couple of aid stations later, they're absolutely in absolute clips in there. They can't move. So yeah, it's such a long. It's endurance. So it's being able to just grind out the miles at a consistent pace and not worried about anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. So you then went on to the Chester 100 miler, and I like to say the furthest I've ever run is 50. And starting that, I'm standing there and you think to yourself, all you can think is the amount of time. It's not even so much the distance, it's, I think to myself anyway, I am going to be here for the rest of the day. Like someone could start work right now, and when they clock out at 5 p.m. today, I'm still going to be running. For 100 miles, what's going through your head when you're standing on that start line at probably 5 a.m. or so, and you're thinking, this is it now for 24-ish hours?
Yeah, I mean, when I first pulled up, everyone else is feeling the same. So I pulled up, and there was a guy who pulled up next to me in his camper, and we had a quick chat because I've been looking at campers because that's probably a really handy thing to get because it would save money on hotels and stuff. And he obviously was nervous as well to the point where we started walking to the start line from the car park, and I was like, "You're gonna bring a drop bag?" Then he's like, "Oh my god!" He had to run back to his camper to grab his drop bag and stuff like that. And once you get talking to the guys that are there, you're all going through the same thing. That completely sort of squashes the nerves a bit because you're all in it together. And there was a point where we were sort of inside. There's like a community centre they use next to the athletics track. It's got like showers and stuff like that. I went in there just because it's warm. After picking up the tracker, and everyone's just discussing trainer and what trainers they're using, like everything like that. And it's kind of like you get that kind of buzz. You're like, oh, if you everything you've been training for and you've been interested in doing and focusing on, you can now talk to everyone about. Because see, a lot of people around here, they're not really interested in what
No.
trainers you're using on your ultra, what bag you're using, what gels you're. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of a nice experience to be able to actually sort of nerd out about everything. Um, but the nerves sort of they kick in again when you're getting on the track and it's 20 minutes to go and you're warming up and you're sort of looking around thinking, yeah, this is it. It's yeah, it's game time. And it was a really because they recently lost a guy called David Parish. He passed away beginning of last week. So we had a minute silence for him, which is a really nice touch from GB Ultras because he was a winner of a 50 last year, and I think he's doing he was trying to set a record on Cape Wrath when he said tragically lost his life. So that was a really nice touch from GB Ultras that they did that just before. Um, and yeah, but yeah, no, just before you set off, you're all standing around. I saw a guy called Lewis Payne who I got in touch with on Instagram, who he won a backyarder last year. And Dean Jackson, who is local to Colchester, he came third, and he got me in touch with him and said, "Yeah, he's doing the Chester 100. Be good to follow him to see what his training is like and stuff." So I saw him on the start line. That sort of calmed nerves as well. So I said hello to him, shook his hand, said like good luck and everything. Caught up with him a little bit on the route as well, but he absolutely smashed it. He got sub 20. He was going for revenge though because he tried it last year, and unfortunately DNF. But this year he absolutely smashed it. So it was good to catch up with him because you keep in touch with people on Instagram. You don't actually get to meet them until you actually get them to race days and stuff. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting community, the ultra running community, isn't it? Because same as like I know Dean, but at the same time, I say I know Dean. I've met him once, just up the gym once, but I've known him on socials for ages. Like yourself, we've never properly met, but we keep in touch over socials all the time. Let alone when you meet guys at races and they're on the other ends of the country. But so I was keeping an eye on your socials during the 100 miler, and you're obviously only posting periodically. You're every 15, maybe 30 miles or so. But it is crazy watching from afar when you see like, oh, okay, he's already at mile 15. That's pretty good. And then hours pass, and I've been to the shops, and I've done this, and I've taken the dog out for a walk, and I've done this, and then it's like, oh, I'm at mile 30, and you go, oh god, that is a long old way. When you're just going about your normal day and you're trying to keep an eye on these guys running, it really does put into perspective just how insane an 100-mile race is.
Yeah, it's hard to document because obviously I'm conserving battery life as well because I need to keep my battery on my phone, my watch, and my headset because it is well sort of waypointed, but at the same time you have got the GPX saved in your watch, and I use the feature on the Garmin that tells me when I've got a left turn coming up or something like that, so I can get that prompt. So I did say to a few people, I was like, I will try and keep everyone updated, but like just every 10 to 15 miles or something like that. But the man message I was getting, like, it's like a walk in the park for you. You're not even tired. I'm like, you've not seen what I've gone through between them points of me recording that were actually, there were some tough times, and it's hard to document it, but it is, I've sort of show the good parts, and it's hard to show the hard points because you're grinding it out and you're concentrating on nothing else but getting it done. So then the bits that I am posting are probably like only small highlights of me actually looking okay because I'm feel okay enough to post, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%, that makes sense. So when you're getting towards the end of these races, as you mentioned, on your first 100 miler, you got to mile 72 and you were done. You were shot to bits. It's when the body starts breaking down and maybe the mind starts wandering a little bit as well. At what stage during this race, because you mentioned it was right towards the end, did you start hitting that sort of level?
I probably didn't hit that now until I think right at the very end, probably like 95 to when it, I had like 3 miles left. It was like 100 miles on my watch, but there was an extra bonus 3 miles because they had to change some of the route because there was tree downs and stuff like that. So it's
Right.
never 100 miles. It's normally like slightly more, on some races, slightly less maybe. But yeah, the last 3 miles were tough. That was the only point where I was like, the run walking was setting in. I was like, I've done it now. I've done it now. There's no one behind me for miles. I can't see no head torches near me. The hard work's done. I could just walk this in, but you kind of have to like shuffle and walk, shuffle, walk. But I think it's because it was like three to four in the morning at that point. And I remember the first 100, it was 3 or 4 in the morning when I was at mile 72. So I think it's the time on feet factor is what makes you physically like done. Because the people, obviously, I finished in like 22, was it 22 hours, 26? There were other people finishing in like another 10, like 5 to 6 hours after that. They're having a much harder time than I had because it's time on feet. Going slower and taking that much time is so much harder because it's just mentally completely draining because you're just awake for so much more longer and burning more calories. But yeah, no, yeah, so I only felt that towards the end. So if that race had gone on longer, that would have been the real test.
Yeah. So I mean, speaking of, what's the plans for the rest of the week? Talk us through your schedule. Sorry, rest of the week, rest of the year. Talk us through your schedule for the rest of 2026.
The rest of the year, well, right now I'll be just recovering, but I'm actually recovered pretty much a lot quicker than I did first time round because I think muscle memory, your body remembers how bad you feel, so you do bounce back a lot quicker the more you do these sort of things. And I already went for a recovery run yesterday, so I did a couple of miles and feel a lot better for it. But yeah, the next up is Everest Base Camp with Hardest Adventures, which is what Russ Cook has set up.
Yeah, I've seen that. That looks sick.
Yeah, so I looked at that and I thought that's a bucket list. That's something that I can tick off and be like, I've done that. That'd be altitude, all of that. Um, yeah, Kathmandu, and then flying to Lukla, hiking from there all up to base camp, and then you never know. One day from just doing that, I could get in. You network in these sort of things, so being base camp about well, why not I go further? Like one day, do you know what I mean? You never know. That could be my thing. I could get to base camp and be like, oh, this is a bit of me. I like this altitude. I'm gonna go further. So you just never know until you try these things. It could be your thing. I could end up doing these sort of hardest adventure things, getting in touch with them and being like, well, this is my cup of tea now. I want to go around the world and do hard adventures. But yeah, no, I'll be doing that. That's 1st of June. That'll be a couple of weeks, and then I've got my birthday beginning of July. So I'm doing the Love Trails, which involves an ultra, and it's kind of like a festival. So that'll be fun. There'll be loads of obviously people there that do the ultra running that I can make like networking basically. And then end of July, I've got another 100 miler. So it'd be the first one I did. They're going to continue it on from Edinburgh Castle to Glamis Castle. So I thought I've done the Bamburgh to Edinburgh. Why not do Edinburgh to Glamis? So going to go back and do that. And then I was going to be doing the Dragons Back. Unfortunately, they've cancelled it. The event holders have gone into administration and it's been cancelled. So I'm going to replace it with 100 miler, the Snowdon GB Ultras 100 miler, which is supposed to be quite tasty. So it's got a lot of elevation. So that'll be a good replacement. Possibly they might do something. Another company might take it over. They might do something, and it might continue. But for now, that's what it looks like. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a year. So, talk to me about what your not your running training, but your injury prevention, which I'd imagine is strength training, what your recovery is looking like between your training runs, and then we'll move on to your specific running training afterwards.
Yeah, so a lot of obviously long distance and people that run a lot, they normally neglect the weight training. But because my cup of tea is weight training more, so when I left the army, I just did weight training. I didn't do as much running or cardio or anything because my knees are not shot to bits. But from the army, you do take a battering in your
Yeah.
knees. So I've had knees. In 2019, I actually had knee surgery. So my meniscus in my right knee is just not there. I had meniscus meniscectomy. So if I said that right, where they basically keyhole surgery in my right knee, and I've taken it away because it was locking up and it was getting in the way, and the cartilage was pretty much all over the place. So they've cleaned it up. And one of the things the surgeon actually said was, "These are the things you shouldn't be doing. Like you can't do." And I've basically done them anyway. But the main thing is, I think running and stuff like that is okay because as long as you keep. If I was to play like rugby or football, I'd probably have a lot of problem because it's the stopping suddenly and turning. Whereas this isn't so much of that. Um, but I go to the gym 3, 4 times a week, but I do a lot of like the hot and cold therapy as well. So the ice plunging and the sauna, stretching. I do a bit of yoga once a week. That is important if you want to do this sort of stuff, like endurance running and stuff, because your hamstrings and your quads will be on fire because you'll be climbing a lot of elevation, putting your hamstrings through it, and then coming down the other way, your quads are then controlling the speed of you coming down, and that is tiring. So strength work on your legs a couple of times a week is really important, especially balance as well. I've got a balance board at home, so I've had injuries on my left ankle where I've torn ligaments, and obviously my knee. And when I've had physio, they've taught me how to sort of prevent that happening. So balancing boards for your ankles, because obviously trail running, it's not going to be flat. It's going to be all over the place. So you're gonna roll your ankle. So having strength around your ankles is important when it comes to trail running. Um, and yeah, I do a lot of sort of self physio throughout the week, like keeping my knee from because your kneecap is basically like a floating bone in a way. You've got to keep it on track. So if your tracking's out slightly, so if your quads are pulling to one side slightly, you're in agony because that kneecap's just going to rub against bone. So I just do a lot to keep that on track. And yeah, stretching, all that good stuff. Really, there's a lot behind it. It's not you don't just go out and go and run. There's so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to the running itself, what's a week of training looking like for you? Sort of Monday through Sunday, what sort of mileage are we putting away?
Depends on where I'm at with what's coming up. So beginning of the year, I was building up the mileage because I knew I had the 50 coming up and the chest 100. So my base training was ideally for the chest 100. So I was building up. I think in beginning of January, it was like started off with like a 20-mile week, and then next it was like 25, and then it went on and on and on. So I was building a base basically. So in a month, by the end of the month, I was doing like 50 to 60-mile weeks, but it was over a gradual period. So it wasn't like I was smashing out one big long run. There's a few runs in the week, and then long run at the weekend, sometimes two, depends on how far it is. And then a couple of obviously the weight training in between. And yeah, kind of because I haven't really got a coach, and I kind of not wing it in a way. I do train and try and take it seriously as possible. And I've literally cut down. Like this year, I haven't had a beer since Christmas Day last year. I've literally just locked in. I was like, right, no alcohol, because if I was to have one weekend on the beers, then it knocks you completely for a week, and then you're constantly playing catch up. So I've knocked that clear the head. That's probably the most important thing I've done this year is not have any alcohol, and the food, hydration, vitamins, all of it combined. I've invested in them leg compression, like massage.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any of them.
Yeah, I've got some of them. They're a game changer. Use them literally every day now. The Pure Sport Balm, Muscle Balm, use that every day after the spa. Yeah, it's just been completely locked in with it all and just making it routine. So I don't even really think about it. I just do it to the point where it just becomes normal. So I don't really. There's a lot of people that go really seriously. They keep diaries and they set goals and stuff like that. Whereas I don't. That's why I say I kind of wing it, but it just becomes natural to me. So I just sort of get it done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I
100%. I
think
think
knowing your
knowing your
body as
body as
well
well
is
is
so
so
crucial.
crucial.
Like,
Like,
don't get me
don't get me
wrong,
wrong,
I
I
think
think
having
having
a
a
coach is
coach is important
important,
and
and
it
it can be
can be
so
so
beneficial.
beneficial.
But
But
also,
also,
only you
only
know
you
how
know
your
how your
body
body
feels,
feels.
and
Yeah,
And
you're
you're
getting
getting
experience in
experience
this
in this
game now.
game
You're
now. You're
already
already
multiple
multiple
hundred
hundred
milers
milers
in.
in.
You've got
You've
more
got
for the
more for the
rest of the
rest of the
year. I
year.
think
I
by
think
the
by
end
the
of
end
this
of
year,
this year,
you're going to
you're
be
going to be
very,
very,
very
very
experienced in the
experienced in the
ultra
ultra
game
game
by
by
a lot
a
of
lot of
people's
people's
standards
standards
now.
now.
So
So
having that
having that
understanding of
understanding
how
of how
your
your
training
training
works, I
works,
think
I
is
think
really
is really
important as
important as
well.
well.
yeah. I feel like I've kind of done that man thing where I'm like want to do it on my own. Like so, I've got that sense of achievement where I've got here on my own. Like if I was to go, I take it really seriously and think right, I'm going to go UTMB World Series. I want to be a pro. Then yeah, that becomes you get a crew and you get a coach and you get proper like nutrition, everything else. You have to lock in like on another level. Whereas like on this level, it's to show sort of people you can do it on your own. There is like a normal guy like that can just do it.
Yeah, so as you said there, normal guy, I imagine you're working a full-time job. You're trying to take care of day-to-day things that every other person is dealing with, as well as putting away these training weeks and these races. So when you're not out on the road hitting miles, what are you doing? What are you up to?
Well, yeah, work. I work for Anglian Water. Luckily now, it's more working from home slash office. If I was to do what I was doing a couple of years ago, which was I was a network technician out in the field dealing with customer complaints and working overtime and standby, I probably wouldn't be able to do this. So I am fortunate in the job role that I've got now that allows me to do these sort of things, and they are supportive because it's all for charity and stuff and that. So I advertise it with work, and they're all for it. They're like, "Yep, love it." And there's a few people I work with that do amazing things as well that you get in touch with, and because there's so many people that work for Angry Water. There's a guy that I'm made friends with who does like 2.5 hour marathons, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So you make friends like that in the workplace. But yeah, and I've got 2 dogs as well, so they need walks. Obviously, I had one, and I've inherited my mum's dog, so I've got 2. But it is just me. It's just me in a 3 bed house on my own, sort of thing. So I haven't got any other distractions really. So I'm lucky in a way for that. But yeah, other people I speak to, they've got like family, they've got kids, they've got all of those distractions, and it's 10 times harder, I imagine, like having the lack of sleep, or got to pick up the kids from school, or someone's not well or something like that. So I am really fortunate in the position I'm in where I can do these things. So yeah, I am sort of grateful.
Yeah, that's good, man. So obviously you are engrossed in this. You love the ultra running space. You know, I see you posting about it all the time. You've got various different things that I've seen that I can tell that you're locked into the space as well. Who are some people or brands or like influencers that you enjoy consuming content from in the ultra running or just running space?
Well, the first person, the obvious one, when I first got into it, was David Goggins, because I was watching YouTube, watching him on Joe Rogan and stuff like that, and his mindset is amazing. But then there's so many other people that are off the back of that, like Andy Glaze. I follow him, and we sometimes swap messages. He was going to be doing Dragon's Back as well, and he even sent me one of his hats. I was like, I'm going to be on the start line one day, wearing his hat next to him, about to do like some mad miles with him, and it would just be amazing. I'd be off my nut. And there's a guy called Eli who's really good. They're in America, so they're like so far away. So actually getting to meet these people would be amazing. But they're supportive and influential in what they do. I follow them on literally my Instagram and socials. Now all it is that. It's all I really see. So I'm completely cut off from like the normal world now. All I see is that. So every day it's like he's going for a trail run. He's doing his kind of hot and cold therapy. He's taking his vitamins. He's in the gym. Like, and you sort of surround yourself with that, and it kind of drives you and like, right, that's what I need to be doing. That's what I need to be doing. So it is great. But yeah, no, Andy Glaze is pretty up there, and he's pretty cool with like his like I'll post and stuff, and he'll like it. He'll comment, and he'll respond, which is amazing.
One thing I like about Andy as well is his messaging is very pure. You know, it's not hustle culture esque. You know, he speaks openly. No, he's not trying to sell anything. He's doing it for the love of the game. You know, he's an absolute freak. I think he's like 6.5 years deep into 100-mile weeks, but he does it for the love.
When I'm struggling to get a 50 or 60-mile week in, I'm thinking he's been doing 100-mile weeks for like 6 years, and he's a fireman, and he's got a family. Like, it's, yeah, you see things like that, and then you see backyarders where the guy did 100 miles in a wheelchair, to the point where the wheel's locked up and he's dragging the wheelchair to the finish line. I think if I'm ever having a bad time, like, you think that it's like we're not.
No, 100%, man. I believe his name was Mike Egan. I'm pretty sure that was his name. Unbelievable. And I think that's the thing, like, social media gets a bad rap, and I'm bad for it, of saying it's a terrible thing and it's this and it's that. But one thing it is absolutely incredible at is if you can form that ecosystem of what you want to be fed, you really can get yourself out of bed in the morning and motivate yourself to go and do some very cool things, which clearly you've done.
It can be used for good. That's the thing. And another guy as well, is it Sam King from Frinton?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Started using it for good as well. He said he was like obviously just a gamer, loads of negative things on social media. He completely turned around his social media and went and done, what was it, like 80 ultra marathons in 80 days or something stupid. Yeah, it was amazing. Like, he's another local inspiration. I was already doing these sort of things, and I saw him doing that, and I thought that's amazing.
Yeah,
but so you follow
100%.
people like that, and it's like just drives you. Like, if he could do it, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone watching, I believe his Instagram is Fatboy S King, which is Sam King, who's a local boy to us, who recently broke the world record for the most consecutive days of running ultra marathons, which was absolutely unbelievable. And
Now, and he's still following other people doing crazy things and supporting them, and that's a driver as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really does just show, man, the ultra running community, the ultra running space is absolutely fantastic. And it goes down to as simple as anything over a marathon is an ultra marathon. And I was actually having the conversation today with one of my clients of a marathon is such an insane achievement. You know, running 42.2 kilometers, 10 hours, 2 hours, whatever, is unbelievable. To be able to run further than that is just freaky. It definitely is uncommon. It definitely puts some emphasis on that word. So to wrap up, we always finish with a blind ranking. So I'm going to ask you to blind rank some dream races for yourself. Now, so I might have missed what would actually be your dream race, but we're going to be working out of, I think it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to give you a race and I want you to rank it 1 to 8, not knowing what the rest of the races are going to be. So, number 1 is the Moab 240.
I mean, that's a number one for a lot of people. I think that'd be top to bed.
Number 1.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me make a note of it, otherwise I'll forget. Okay, that's Moab 240 done. The spine race.
Oh yeah, like that's good as well. I'm gonna go 3.
3 for the spine race. Next one, the BPN Go One More Ultra.
See, I've not done the backyarders before. I've like seen them being done, and I'm like, it scares me to being able to because I'm quite stubborn, and I'd end up actually hurting myself.
That is my mindset as well. I'm exactly the same. One of my best pals, Oscar, he wants me to sign up with him for one in September. And I'm gradually working my way back from injury, but I'm pretty much good now. And I've had to say to him, mate, I can't, because I'll hurt myself badly doing those.
It could stop me being able to do anything else ever again.
Exactly, that's my mindset.
Yeah, because it'd be me against I wouldn't even care whoever else is. Like, I'm going one more. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, yeah, I'd like to try it one day. I'll go in the middle for that. I'll go 4.
4 for BPN. Okay, next one. Badwater 135.
I don't know much about that one, to be fair.
So Badwater is 135 miles through Death Valley in the summer. It's the one that is pretty pivotal in Goggins' first book.
Yeah. Now you say it, yeah, I remember him talking about it now. And after the interview, they were like, so how hot was it? He goes, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, that's the one. Everyone runs it in like white long sleeve tops, white bucket hats.
He was topless.
Yeah, he was in black shorts and like a raggedy black vest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd absolutely hate to do that. I'd stick that 5, I reckon.
5 for Badwater. Yeah, I mean, that one, man. I think because of Moab and how Moab is just absolutely enormous now, like you said, I think for so many people it's their number one. Badwater almost gets forgotten about now. But I think outside of the 200 plus mile events, Badwater is the hardest event in the world for a lot of people. You know, I think the heat for it, I think it's the hottest race in the world. That I think people get carried away by the fact it's only 135 miles when you've got Moabs and the Arizona Monster and all of that. Okay, moving on. Next one. This isn't a race, but it's something I reckon you'd quite like to do. Joggle. John O'Groats to Land's End.
I don't know. What one?
So that's I can't remember which way round it is, the northernmost point of the UK to the southernmost point of the UK.
I've seen like something similar, like Run Britannias and stuff like that, where they're literally going from the furthest point to the furthest point. And it can take that up to like a month or so.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. yeah, it's something I would love to do. Um, I don't know what else you're going to. Not what other races you're going to say. So I don't know where to put it.
That's where it gets fun. You've got 2, 6, 7, and 8 left.
Yeah, and I don't know what else is coming. So that's why I was trying to save that 2 spot because I know there's probably going to be one that's. I think I know what another one you're going to say. I'm going to go. I'm going to have to go 6, and I.
6 for joggle. Okay, so next one, the Barkley Marathon.
Oh, yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, I'll go 2.
2.
I was following that this year. I was following that recently. Yeah, I was following that one. I was like, I like the way you have to like the weirdness of it all is just like you got to
Yeah, I
find
love
pages
it.
on a book and stuff, and it's like it just looks like it was mad. And he just lights a cigarette to start it, and you have to. I can't remember how much it was. Like something, the entry fees were something silly, and then it's like a number plate. Like
Yeah, I know it's mad. I love like the lore of that race is just it just takes on a personality of its own.
yeah, and you can't enter. He sort of picks you, sort of thing. Like so, it's like an honor to do it rather
Yeah.
than that definitely I'd love to do that.
Okay, so that leaves us 7 and 8, and so your penultimate one is the London Marathon.
See, that doesn't actually appeal to me that much. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8 on that. I have tried to get in once, but yeah, I'd want to make it harder. If I was ever going to do it, I'd turn up earlier and do it in reverse, and then turn it into like an ultra.
Yeah, for sure. Final one is Western States.
Yeah, to be fair, that Chester 100 was a qualifier for that, so I'm qualified to do it. I could do it. I did look up to it. I sort of looked through the Chester 100 and it said this is a qualifying race for that. So I then looked into that and I thought, yeah, that'll be something I will do one day.
Yeah, sick. Unfortunately, that is going in at 7 because that's all that was left. But all right.
Yeah, I didn't think that was coming, but yeah, no, I did look into that actually. Even today, actually, earlier today, I was looking at it. I was thinking, yeah, I'll have a bit of that one day because that's the oldest that's the oldest trail run. I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the first 100 miler. So that shakes out at number 1 Moab, number 2 Barkley, number 3 Spine Race, 4 BPN, 5 Badwater, 6 Joggle, 7 Western States, 8 London Marathon. How does that sound? Did that come out sort of right? Good stuff. Okay, so with that, mate, going to sort of start rounding third here and bringing us home. So all of your stuff that you do, what is the charity that you do it for? And there'll be a link in the description. If you can just tell everyone if you currently have a link open. If not, I'll just link the charity itself. But just tell us about the charity, how people can get involved, and what your next event is.
Yeah, there is a link on my bio on my Instagram, and I think it's in my Facebook somewhere as well. But it's for Calm, so it's campaigning against living miserably. I have done various charities, but this one I'm doing more so because I know what it's like to be in a bad place. Obviously, after losing my mum, it was just like, yeah, it's awful, and I know how you could end up going down that dark way of feeling absolutely just destroyed. So I'm driving for that. So yeah, so if anyone can donate or share, that'd be great. Yeah, like I said, links in the bio. I can send you the link so you can link it to this. And yeah,
100%, mate. Yeah, so the link will be in the show notes here as well as Peter's social media. I've done some work with Calm before. Those guys are fantastic. They do really amazing work. I believe, unless the numbers have changed, it's £12.50 can fund a life-saving call. So if you can give £12.50, that would be unbelievable. Or if we get 12 people donating £1, even better. That's fine as well. So that's in the show notes. Go and get on that now that the podcast is coming to an end. And Peter, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the Uncommon podcast. I know it was your first one, and I think you've done great. Really, really insightful. I thoroughly enjoyed that, mate. Thank you very much.
Yep, I'll finish it with that.
Nice one, mate. Many more to come as well.
Many more, yeah. Yeah, I've lost count. I think it's 12 out of 12 now for ultra marathons in 2 years. So I'm doing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, mate. Right, we'll have to get some miles in soon.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah, name the time, place, I'll be there.
Top man.
Top man.
Right,
Thank you very much for coming, mate. I
appreciate
it. Thank you very much for joining me on this week's episode of the Uncommon Podcast. That was Peter Brannan-Smith, and as we said, all of the details for his charity work are in the show notes below, so please go and get stuck in with that, because Calm really do amazing work, and so does Peter. I mean, some of the races he's got coming up are a fucking joke, to be honest. So thanks very much for being here. As always, I appreciate you, and if you're watching on YouTube, you should watch this video because YouTube thinks that you're really going to enjoy it. And if you're listening on Spotify, ignore that bit. See you in the next one, guys.